I decided to make a part 2 to my DAK2 video in response to Mike's comment about being interested in more information about the leaders and the group units, as well as map E in the abstract. So I put together a very short slideshow to cover that material for anyone else too who might be interested. Anyway, thank you for asking about that. So this first picture that I'm going to take a look at is from a replay of the compass scenario in DAK2. And you can see there are 4 leaders that are actually depicted here. You've got Gott, O'Connor, and Campbell, and then you've got the Italian leader, Maletti. And so these leaders can ride around free on their own side's units. They don't need fuel, and they're not really affected by too much, but they can affect play. So one of the things that these leaders can do is if they are in a combat, they can add +1 to the action rating roll of their side in that combat. But if they do that, that means they were close enough to the battle to possibly be affected. So you have to roll a die after the combat and determine whether the leader's killed, captured, wounded, or okay. So it comes at a risk, but a lot of these leaders here had issues of being captured and killed and whatnot. In fact, Maletti was killed during Operation Compass, according to the writings. You'll notice all of these leaders here have a 3 on them, and this is one of the really valuable functions that leaders in DAK2 have, and that is they can function a little bit like what a reserve marker does. So in this game, you have a limited number of reserve markers representing the operational abilities of the side at the time, but during your movement phase, you can deploy your various reserve markers, and what they allow you to do is possibly to release these reserves at a later time. For example, in the enemy reaction phase, during the reaction phase in the enemy turn, you can take your reserve marker and release those troops, and they can go move and overrun. And also during your own exploitation phase, you can take the reserve marker off, and these guys can move and overrun and conduct combat. But once the marker's off, they're done. What these leaders allow you to do is to act like a reserve marker in any phase that they want to, that they could normally participate in, but they have to pass a die roll activation. So all of these leaders need to roll a 3 through a 6 to be able to activate. If they roll a 1 or a 2, nothing happens. But if they get the activation, they can kind of function like a unit who was just released from reserve. The other difference is that the leader stays with the unit. So as long as the unit's in good order, the next phase, normally they would not be, their reserve marker would be gone, but in this case, no, if they can pass their activation, they can activate their units again. So that's what the leader units can do. In this next picture, I've just got a picture of Strafer Gott and Irving Rommel, and then I've got one of the Italian RAGs, the Bignami group, and then I have a German KG, the Marx group. So you can see Rommel has a rating of 2, which basically means he can activate on the roll of a 2 through 6. So he almost always can activate unless you're unlucky and roll a 1. So he is quite valuable in this game. Plus he has the ability to move by means of his airplane, so he can take his a phase and shift to another group of units quite easily. Now the KG and the RAGs do something different. They're not leaders, but they can act like reserve markers in a way. They don't ever come off, but if they can pass their activation roll, like the 4 or for the Marx unit or the 5 for the Bignami RAG, they can activate as if they had a reserve marker on them and take actions during phases when reserve units can move. So that makes them quite valuable. And they also have the ability to make ad hoc units, which is what they are doing, and they can fuel a group of units that's underneath their marker as if they were, a multi-unit formation, and they will stay fueled for as long as that marker fueled them for. So that is incredibly valuable, and as long as the units remain in good order, that is not disorganized, these guys can move and react and exploit if they can pass their activation roll. So these are valuable. They, as I said before in the other video, they're typically named after the officer in charge of the group. So in this case, Marx is probably an officer, a general that led an ad hoc formation of, German and Italian units and is able to, function them much like a multi-unit formation. So that's what these do. I was also asked about the maps, the Cairo maps. So this is a 10-foot long game if you play with all the maps, and there are 5 of them. So this is map E in the picture here, which has Cairo, and you can see the Suez Canal and the Nile. And this map isn't really used unless the Germans and Italians get super lucky and break through all the way over here. So there's an option to short sheet the bed, so to speak, by using this map E abstract, which I have on top of the map here. This is an 8.5 by 11 cardstock, but it has all the important places on map E: Port Said, Suez, Cairo, etc. And then the 2 ports have a port track on there like they would on the big map. And then you can see all these locations show in movement points how many movement points or air entry points it would take to get to a certain hex on the next map over. And that is map D. So you can see on the left side of this sheet, it shows you the hex numbers entering D and how many movement points from any location to get there. I believe these are motor movement points. I mean, most of the units would be motorized, so it puts the movement points in those terms. So I think I play with this abstract simply because I don't have the table space and I don't want to set this map up on another table. And I guess if the Italians and the Germans were getting very lucky and getting over here, you could set this full map up if you wanted to, for an event like that. But I've never had that happen playing this game. So usually I end up devolving into, a standoff. So anyway, I hope that answers a few of the questions that my prior video may have raised. And thank you for watching, and have a great day.